doing anything as foolish as giving out 2 loyalty stamps instead of 1. Vi, Belle called over her shoulder as she slid a stack of new releases into their temporary home. It's 2 p.m. on a Thursday and the place is packed. Don't think you need to worry about me handing out paper bookmarks. She reached up on her tiptoes to the top shelf with a particularly chunky mythology collection, then politely shouldered her way back through the sea of customers towards her boss. Violet gave her a slightly sheepish look as she handed over a couple of stray hardbacks. Well, you know, I don't mind, really. I rather liked how you used to put 'em inside every book as a little treat. But Christopher does say if we count the pennies and the pounds, well, Christopher says a lot of things, Belle interrupted. Violet's eyebrows shot up and Belle carefully reined herself back in. Which is great. Always love his input, obviously. She cleared her throat, still just adjusting to him being around the place and making his changes. Changes that he said we should have made a long time ago, Violet reasoned. Right. It's just that his suggestions, well, they don't necessarily add up to the Lunar Books experience that everybody has always come here for. I am well aware that you two have different ideas about the future of this place, but you also know that if it were up to me, I would never have had to bring my son into the picture in the first place. What choice did you leave me with? Violet shot her a loaded look from under a poised eyebrow. Belle sighed. Come on, Vi, we've been over this several 100 times. If only you'd stop being so selfish and grant the wish of a feeble old woman. Violet wore a forlorn look, but smiled as she leafed through a children's title about a boarding school with her exquisite red manicured fingertips. Belle squinted in her boss's direction. Nothing about you is feeble. You're a menace to society. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm an innocent, ailing old lady who simply wishes she could leave her cherished shop in the hands of she who loves it most, Violet said. You could run things as you wish. I could spend my afternoons at the theatre instead of nagging you about dwindling stock levels. Are you ever going to give this up? Belle interrupted with affectionate annoyance. She was secretly touched by how keen Violet still was to sell her shop, having begun the crusade years ago to hand over the reins to her pride and joy. Not until we sign the papers, which we will, Violet said with a knowing nod, now examining the table of autumn reads and adjusting a book by millimetres to the exact angle. Which we won't, Belle corrected her. I've told you 1,000,000 times. There's no way I could run this place on my own. She passed the oak desk, tidying the greetings cards and small selection of seasonal bouquets that lined the till area as she went. They were loaded with miniature pumpkins and dusky bunny tails to mark the incoming start of October, a subtle floresco bellus incantation, lacing the stems and keeping them remarkably fresh. Oh, how many times, Belle, you wouldn't be on your own, Violet audibly tutted this time. You've got Jim and Monica here through the week, and that new girl with the unfortunate nose ring at the weekends. You know what I mean. I'm talking about taking the reins, generally not my speciality. I'd sort of just float around. I ain't done a damn useful thing around here since the printing press was considered modern technology. Every good idea for years has been yours. But it's still your baby. I'm just here making sure books come in, books go out, customers are happy. That's about the long and short of it. And what more is there to it? You and I both know that you practically run the place single-handedly. I'm too old for all of this now. I have better things to do than recommend thrillers to the unwashed masses. There's nothing wrong with thrillers. You're a snob, Vi. And you know what I'm like. I'd probably run it into the ground within a few months. Less of the self-deprecation, please. I can't stand it. You're a highly capable, knowledgeable woman who I trust implicitly. You've worked your magic here for longer than I care to remember. At this, Belle choked on the air and spluttered out a coughing fit, earning a thump on the back from Violet. Mostly because it ages me dreadfully. You're just too scared to take a risk, Violet continued, and you care too much about what might go wrong.